As of November 30, 2024, the total number of NPS subscribers stand at over 1.9 crore. You likely too have an NPS account as well. However, while many of us keep an active tab on the performance of our mutual funds and stocks, NPS sometimes misses this regular check. Now, while it is true that NPS, by being a retirement solution, is a really long product, it is ultimately a market linked product, and so a regular review of the performance of your fund manager can help you optimize this part of your portfolio. And here are the returns of the best and the worst NPS fund managers across asset types to expand on the point. Now, as you can see, the difference ranges from 1 to 3 percentage points. This return difference can have a big impact on your retirement corpus. And yes, you can change your NPS fund manager once in a financial year. You can even have different fund managers for different schemes. Hello and welcome to ET Money's YouTube channel. Today we will tell you the best fund managers for 2025. Now we also did a similar video for 2024, but things have likely changed since then, so we decided to bring you the up-to-date information. Now if you want more bang for your NPS buck, this video is indispensable, so you must watch it until the end. But first, let's quickly look at how various NPS schemes performed in the last 1 year. In this video, we will talk about the Tier 1 account of the NPS and its fund managers. The Tier 1 account is the primary retirement account that also provides tax benefits. Now, if you want to understand the features of NPS or revisit them, we have a NPS playlist on this channel. This playlist includes videos on NPS basics, the government NPS, the corporate NPS, the NPS Tier 2 account, how the NPS has changed over the years, and so on. So, if you want to know more about the NPS, watch the videos. The link is in the description. Alright, at present, the NPS Tier 1 account has 11 fund managers and their names are on your screen. Now, 4 of these fund managers are relatively new: Axis, DSP, Max and Tata. These fund managers have yet to complete 3 years of operation. Now, the other 7 fund managers are pretty old and have been in operations for many years. Now, each of these fund managers offers 4 schemes: E, C, G and A. Now, E stands for equity, C for corporate bonds, G for government bonds, and A for alternative investment fund. Okay, so let's first look at the performance of these 11 fund managers over the last 1 year across schemes. The toppers over the last 1 year include DSP in equities and government bonds, HDFC in corporate bonds, and ICICI in alternative investment fund. The worst performance in equities is SBI, while DSP did the worst in corporate bond and alternative investment fund, and Kotak was at the bottom for government bonds. Similarly, all fund managers report their trailing returns periodically across multiple periods, such as 3, 5, and 7 years. However, the problem with trailing returns is that they are based on specific start and end dates, so they can be highly influenced by the market conditions between these two dates. This makes them less reliable as an indicator of past performance. Now, more reliable indicator of performance is average rolling returns. These are obtained by averaging all instances of a particular return period between two dates. Now, in this video, we will use average 5-year rolling returns. These are obtained by averaging all 5-year returns between the present and a historical date, depending on the availability of data. So, average 5-year rolling returns tell us the average return picture of all investors who invested in a scheme for 5 years between now and the historical date. Now, in other words, average rolling returns are a composite picture of many trailing returns and not just one instance between two dates. Since we will be considering average 5-year rolling returns, the newer fund managers, Axis, DSP, Max and Tata, will not be part of this comparison as these fund managers don't have sufficient history. One more thing, the NPS doesn't publish rolling returns. It publishes only trailing returns. So in preparing these rolling returns, our team spent hours to crunch the data on historical NAVs of each NPS scheme across fund managers. Okay, let's start with scheme E or equity of the 7 remaining fund managers. But before that, here's something important. If you are looking to invest in the NPS, you can do so within minutes on the ET Money app. It is completely paperless and you can keep track of performance in a tap. Also, you get instant tag proofs, so do check it out. The investment universe of Scheme E of the NPS includes the top 200 stocks on the NSE and BSE by market capitalization, equity mutual funds, Sensex and Nifty ETFs, and other specified ETFs, IPOs, and derivatives. Now, in terms of average 5-year rolling returns, HDFC Pension Fund Manager is the top with 14.36% per annum returns. Aditya Birla Pension Fund Manager is in second place with 13.95% per annum, and Kotak Mahindra Pension Fund Manager with 13.86% per annum. At the bottom is LIC Pension Fund Managers with 12.87% per annum returns. Now, the schemes on average have delivered 13.6% per annum against the Nifty 200's 13.19% per annum. So, on average, Scheme E has outperformed the Nifty 200, its primary investment universe. Finally, let's check the change in the ranks of various fund managers versus their 2023 ranks we calculated. HDFC has maintained its top position. Aditya Birla has jumped massively from 7th to 2nd position. Kotak is steady at 3rd. ICICI has slipped 2 places. Meanwhile, UTI, SBI and LIC have fallen 1 place each. Okay, let's now talk about Scheme C. Scheme C of NPS primarily invests in corporate bonds, but it can also invest in specified term deposit receipts, debt mutual funds, debt securities issued by regulated REITs and InvITs, municipal bonds, etc. Now, if we look at the average 5-year rolling returns of Scheme C, HDFC Pension Fund Manager is at the top with 8.74% per annum returns. Similarly, second is SBI with 8.44% per annum and ICICI with 8.39% per annum. Kotak Mahindra Pension Fund Managers is at the bottom with 7.72% per annum. Now, on average, Scheme C has delivered 8.26% per annum. On the other hand, corporate bond mutual funds have delivered 7.47% per annum. Let's also compare the 2023 and 2024 ranks of Scheme 2 to understand how things have changed. HDFC has retained its top spot. SBI, ICICI and LSE have improved their ranks by 1 place. Aditya Birla's performance has gone down and it has slipped from rank 2 to rank 5. UTI and Kotak are at the same place as in 2023. Now, this brings us to the performance of Scheme G. Scheme G of the NPS invests primarily in government securities or GSECs, but it can also invest in gilt mutual funds and other specified securities with government backing. Now, in terms of average 5-year rolling returns, LIC Pension Fund is at top with 9.16% per annum returns. Next comes HDFC with 8.6% per annum returns, and then Kotak with 8.5% per annum returns. At the bottom is Aditya Birla with 8% per annum returns. Now, on average, Tier 1 Scheme G of NPS has average returns of 8.47%. This is similar to what gilt mutual funds have delivered as well. And if we compare the 2023 and 2024 ranks of Scheme G, LIC and HDFC have retained their positions, with Aditya Birla has dropped to the bottom. Rest all have improved their ranks by 1 place each. This brings us to Scheme A, or the Alternative Investment Fund. Scheme A of the NPS can invest in alternative avenues such as commercial or residential mortgage-backed securities, REITs and InvITs, SEBI-regulated alternative investment funds, and so on. The investment cap for Scheme A is 5%, so only up to 5% of your NPS corpus can be in Scheme A. Also, you can't have a different fund managers for Scheme A than for the other schemes. It has to be one of the already chosen fund managers. If we check the returns, SBI Pension Fund is at the top here with 9.41% per annum returns. HDFC comes next and then LIC. Aditya Birla and UTI are at the bottom with the returns of 6.15% per annum and 6.14% per annum respectively. Unfortunately, there is no clear benchmark to compare Scheme A returns with. So let's compare the 2023 and 2024 scheme ranks next here. SBI, HDFC and LIC, the top 3 fund managers of these schemes by returns, have maintained their position. Kotak and Aditya Birla have improved their ranks by 1 place. ICICI and UTI have dropped in the ranking by 1 place. So, this is how the various Tier 1 NPS schemes have performed. Now, as discussed earlier, you can choose different fund managers for different schemes based on performance, except for scheme A, where the fund manager must be from the selected ones for the other schemes. Now, you can also change the fund manager once in a financial year, so you can switch to a better performing one if required. But if you'd like to keep it simple and stick to just one fund manager, which is the best one across the schemes? Let's see that next. To pick the best fund manager across schemes, let's assign ranks to fund managers based on their average 5-year rolling returns. Now, all of HDFC pension schemes are ranked either 1 or 2. Next is SBI, 2 of whose schemes rank 1 and 2. UTI has the worst performance with 3 of its 4 schemes at the bottom. Aditya Birla has 2 of its 4 schemes at the bottom. Now, this outcome is similar to what we had in 2023 as well. However, our regular viewers would notice that we haven't included the volatility picture in this analysis. Now, for a retirement product like the NPS, which has the ultra long lock-in period, the magnitude of returns would take precedence over the volatility involved for most investors. After all, a larger investment corpus matters more than the volatility involved in generating it. Still, if the volatility of returns matters to you, let's look at that as well. To measure volatility, we use a metric called as standard deviation. The higher the standard deviation, the more the volatility. Let's check the standard deviations for the average 5-year rolling returns that we discussed in this video. Now, because schemes C and G of the NPS have long duration bonds which are sensitive to interest rate movements, checking the volatility of these debt schemes also makes sense. Now, the toppers in terms of volatility protection are Aditya Birla and SBI for scheme E, Aditya Birla for scheme C and G, and LIC for scheme A. If we divide the average 5-year rolling returns by the standard deviation of those rolling returns, we get a risk-adjusted returns. Now, that's another way to quantify performance. Risk-adjusted performance helps see the returns generated in terms of the risk taken for those returns. For better comprehension, let's convert this data into ranks. An interesting picture emerges here. Aditya Birla, one of the worst performers in terms of returns, has 3 of its 4 schemes ranked 1 now. SDFC has done the best, with all 4 of its schemes being top rankers. So, in terms of returns and risk-adjusted returns, it is the winner. SBI and ICICI have a middling performance. Kotak, LIC and UTI each have 2 of their schemes at the bottom. So, if volatility of returns is important for you, you can use this data to choose or make changes to your NPS fund managers. And with this, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please share it with your friends and family. I'll be back soon with another video. Till then, take care.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.